I've seen in the 800s, the highest I've seen is like an 815. If you're over 740, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Yes, sir?
So if you had a late fee and your credit score goes down, how long does it take for it to get it back up?
It could take, depending on how much I've seen scores go down 60 points with late fees. It could take several years. Yeah, so it's serious business. And that's why I tell people you can't ignore this stuff. You know, it's so important not to be overextended, not to have a million cards. And again, you guys are looking for real estate. You know, real estate 5 years ago, you go on, don't even show them tax returns. You might have a couple mortgages on your report already. If they like the investment property, okay, no problem, we'll do it. That's what killed the banks, and they were doing these, excuse me, option arm type loans. It was, you know, you would pay interest only, and you were only paying half of the interest, the rest went to negative amortization. So the problem was you had these super high, you know, percentage loans, you know, 95% to value. So now you got all this money going to negative amortization, and then when the bottom fell out and prices started dropping on homes, your mortgage is this, the value is this, putting the keys in the envelope and sending them off. But that was because the banks were greedy. They were making so much money. The mortgage brokers and the realtors, they didn't care. They said, listen, you can get in this house for $700 a month doing these type of loans. Real estate goes up, you're a winner, but it wasn't. And then their payment got way too high, the values dropped, and that's where all the foreclosures started. Now to get a mortgage, I mean, who's anybody trying to get a mortgage right now for anything? I mean, look what they make you go through. You got good credit. It's ridiculous. Even on a refinance, I just did mine and I'm redoing it again about 4 months later. I just gave them all this stuff. It's like, sometimes I just want to say, you know what, it's not worth it. They just want every little thing. Why do you have this on your report? What's this address about? Where does this money come from? So it's definitely really difficult. Now throw the factor of having bad credit in there, forget it. Really tough. Yes?
Does it make a difference if you are paying your bills 15 days before the due date as opposed to 2 days before the due date?
No, it's good. I like it. The sooner the better, just because, again, what if you forget? You know, you're usually 15 days ahead, but you forget, now you're only 10 days ahead. You're still ahead of the game.
But there's no difference?
No. If you have the money, you know, do it. And again, even with my Chase cards, I haven't written a check to Chase, I don't know how long. I do everything online. I just, bam, transfer the money right to them, pay them, and it gets done. So, it's too easy. It takes time writing checks out and putting stamps on stuff.
After secured cards and other credit cards, what's the next cycle of credit?
You got the secured credit card, and then you've got regular credit cards. You know what? If you're fine, and your score is going to go up on its own. And depending, you know, don't buy a card just to buy a card you think it's going to help your credit report. If you don't need it, you don't need it. And if your score in time will just keep going up and up and up, and that's fine. But
should I go to the bank and borrow $1,000 as an installment loan?
it depends. What do you know what your score is now, or?
Very low.
Okay, it's low. Well, if you've gotten over the hump of and again, feel free to call me in my office and discuss this type of information as well. But if you're over the secured credit card hump and they're giving you credit, you know, just keep doing those. Don't abuse those cards. Yeah, some of the banks do have programs where you can take out the money, then you put it into a CD, and it's a 12-month program, and you repay it, and that does go on your credit too. So that would be good as well. And also, just because, say if you want to go on your brother's credit card as an authorized user, it's going to pop up on your credit report, but it does not help your score. The old days it used to. Mortgage guys did it all the time. Go on your mom's card, it would pop the score. Credit bureaus got smart to that. It says authorized user, doesn't take affects the scores. Yes?
We're looking at reporting for our tenants. Their rental payments, will that affect their scores?
You want to report to the credit bureaus?
About on-time payments from renters.
Okay. Have you looked into doing that at all?
Yep.
To a service or right through the bureaus?
Through service.
Okay, through a service, yes. People, to go directly to the credit bureaus is impossible. You're too small to do that. It should help them. And it's good for you. Here's what's nice about this. You let them know you're reporting to the credit bureau. So it's real, it's real important that you pay this on time because it's going to help your credit because you're going to get your money. That's what you want, number one. That's great. I mean, if you have enough business where you can go through service and report, it's awesome. It's really good.
I'd like to know what the service is.
Yeah, who is the service?
It's citycredit.net.
Citycredit.net.
Is it through Citibank or
I think
Yeah,
maybe
it's
they
affiliate.
get the associated.
what do they charge? What kind of fees?
Yeah, there's different levels of how many you're going to be reporting, but they actually let you backdate 6 months.
One of the best services that we found.
City credit. Make a note. Thank you. That's really good. You know, people didn't know for years that their utility bills report to the credit bureaus. Nightcore, People's Gas, all report to the bureaus. ComEd, the only way you're going to see it is if you go to collection. So, because I would say people pay their bills in a certain order. Number one, they pay their house. Number two, they pay their car. Credit cards, and then the utilities are way down, like, oh, what are they going to do? That's why Nightcore does report to People's Energy to the credit bureau. So make sure, get that set up on auto debit too if you can. Real important.
How about the phone company?
Phone company doesn't report unless you go bad. Any of these companies nowadays, if you go bad on them, they all report to the collection agency. So that's why, again, you know what? I have everything from Comcast. Goes all on my credit card every month because I want those miles. So, and then I have one place to pay. It all just consolidated into one and then pay it once. Yes, ma'am?
I had a question. How many days late does it have to be before they actually report it? Does it have to be 30 days late? I mean,
You know,
1 day, it's not reported, right?
Everybody has a different level. You might, if you're a day late, you might get the late fee, but usually it's going to be anywhere from 15 to 30 to be reported to the bureau. But if you're late, if it's due on the 15th and you don't pay it on the 15th, you get it on the 18th, most likely you're going to get charged that late fee, depending on what their program is. I've seen 15 to 30 days to get it reported on the credit bureau. Mortgages, they do give you a 15-day grace period. But again, try to get those on time. Yes, sir?
I've seen in the past where you could buy trade lines and add them, and there's that fraudulent activity going on. When you're able to delete somebody's negative credit on their credit report through some creative means, like you're talking about, calls, whatever, is there any liability, potential liability in the future for, let's say, a mortgage company, if you got somebody's score up by creative things to improve their credit? Have you seen any potential liability for the mortgage company to come back and say, hey, you know what, this wasn't on your credit report when we offered you the mortgage, we're going to look into this? Have you seen anything like that recently?
Are you talking again about, you talked about a couple things. You're talking about these companies that you can buy the trade lines?
I've seen that. And
Number one, there's companies out there that, you can't even call them companies.
yeah.
It's a guy in the back room somewhere trying to sell bogus trade lines. Stay away from those. They don't work. The credit bureau catches on. Again, for you to report to the credit bureaus is so difficult. So there were some companies out there that were doing this for a while. The credit bureau gets smart and they get cut off. And these guys usually charge a lot of money. You know, they'll put seasoned trade lines on there, charge a fortune. And there was a guy in Chicago. He got shut down. So stay away from that. I'm sorry, what was the rest of the
I'm
question?
just getting, in regards to fraud, so.
Well, by challenging negative information, you have the right to do that. So first is what Nationwide Credit does is 100% legal. We're not going, I don't have a guy inside TransUnion, we're paying off to do stuff. Again, we're using all the laws in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. You can do it as well. They have to do certain things. If they don't do it properly, items have to get deleted. So stuff, when you do credit challenges like that, it's totally legit, it's totally legal, you're fine. Buying trade lines and stuff, that's where it gets sketchy.
So here's an example. I just read about this recently, and maybe you've had some experience with this. Somebody filed bankruptcy,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to apply for credit. So they hire an attorney and they say, I'm going to apply for credit for a mortgage. Would you mind helping me out and go check out my bankruptcy file at the court system, and when they go and check my inquiry and look for my records, they're going to say it's not there and they'll have to remove the negative reports. I've just read about that recently. Is that something that you have heard about?
I've heard that theory before. Try challenging it Christmas because they're busy. It's all electronic, doesn't work. Maybe back in the old days or something, but there's, when I had to get somebody's bankruptcy information, one of my attorneys that we deal with, I emailed him stuff. Within 5 minutes, he had the whole docket to me. It's all electronic, so there's no actual, where they pull the file out and then somebody goes, hey, where's Scott Coven's file? It's not there. Well, let's take it off the credit report. So that's not true. Doesn't work. I saw somebody else was their hand. Okay. Well, I'll be outside if anybody has any questions, and feel free to call me at my office if anybody wants their credit looked at. Again, there's no charge for that. We have a service that we do help people clean up their credit report. It's very reasonable. It's month to month. Take some of my literature. My website's an awesome website. We don't hide anything. It has all the pricing on there. Price is the same for everybody. Look under credit repair results. We post every week actual credit reports with deletions. I can show the people outside on my iPad as well. Thank you very much for having me. Great audience.